All right, so to do number 31 out of 9.2, they want me to prove the following thing using algebra. And then they tell me that I have sine of t over 1 minus cosine t, and apparently that's 1 plus cosine of t over sine t. So what are they even asking me to do?
Choose a side, prove that it's equal to the other.
Okay, yeah, that's possible. I don't think I could actually make that happen.
Answer the question.
Maybe I can
why?
I can make that happen here. But we could answer the question, like, why should this be the case?
Yeah.
We could maybe start with this thing and fiddle it around and see if we can end up with something true and then reverse those steps. That's probably also a decent thought. What do you guys want to try first here? Like, we're just playing around. I don't want to give this away.
Let's multiply by something on the denominator.
Okay, so you want to look at the whole thing and multiply by one of the bottoms to zap that thing out?
You can't cross multiply?
No, because they're equal.
Cross multiplication is not an operation.
In my life,
Isn't that just multiplying by both denominators?
Yeah, so you could multiply by both denominators. I'm okay with that. So, which one do you want to do first, Oven, or do you want to do them both at the same time? I don't care.
Let's do both.
Okay, so
I feel like that one girl in that one.
On those stuff?
Taquitos commercial.
we'll multiply by the common bottom, which is what? Sine of t and
1 minus cosine.
1 minus cosine of t, right? Okay, so I got sine of t, 1 minus cosine of t, sine of t, all over 1 minus cosine t, right? Is 1 plus cosine t times sine t times 1 minus cosine t, all over sine t. And then what?
1 minus cosine t's and the sine t's are ones and drop out.
Okay, this guy's a onesie, so we can drop it. And sine t over sine t is also a onesie, so we can drop that. And so I have apparently, or achieved, sine t,
Squared by.
sine squared t is,
Cosine squared?
No, you have to FOIL it.
yeah, so remember to FOIL there. Or notice that thing looks like difference of, not perfect square. It's a difference of squares. So when you FOIL that thing out, you'll get 1 minus cosine squared of t.
Oh.
You guys see that? So there was a multiply and then some kind of like onesies and simplify. Right? So if I want to actually demonstrate that this thing is true, I really should start at something I know to be true and move to that thing. You guys all see that? Like so far I started with something that included a kind of question equals to, and then I pretended like I knew it was equality. When I multiplied both sides by something, I should have had something kind of question equals to. And then I did a little simplification. I got something that should have had a question, but I know is true, so I can slash that. You guys see this? It's actually a little bit weird that I can follow that slashing back to the top. You guys cool with that? So how do I show this without, like, just, oh, it's fine, cool. You guys should start with this thing, right? Okay, so why do I know this thing's true?
Because the Pythagorean identity.
Yeah, that's the Pythagorean identity shifted around a little bit, right? Okay, so I'm going to start with sine squared of t plus cosine squared of t equals 1, right? And then how do I get to that?
You subtract cosine squared.
Perfect. So I'll subtract cosine squared of t from both sides. So we'll get sine squared of t is 1 minus cosine squared of t. And then we'll what?
That's it. Now you gotta go from that step
Break
up to
sign.
the.
Yeah, so I want to follow that back up to some of this.
Yeah, it's a break sign.
Yeah, so I want to break everything apart. So I factor,
Yeah.
maybe, into sine t times sine t equals 1 plus cosine t times 1 minus cosine t. Right?
Oh, and then you just divide by each of the.
Perfect. And then I divide by the appropriate things. So I definitely want to multiply both sides by 1 over a sine t, right? So that'll get me sine t is 1 plus cosine t times 1 minus cosine t all over sine t. And then what else, which piece did I want on the bottom?
1 minus cosine t.
1 minus cosine t, so I take this whole thing and multiply by 1 over 1 minus cosine t. And I get to the thing.
There you go. That's one.
Cool. So what's the work I should actually be circling here? Because I just circled the thing they gave me, right?
That whole steps.
Yeah, so really this whole thing here is my answer. And what is this crap?
Just
Then help
reverse
us figure out what the answer was.
Yeah, that's just me thinking, right? So I really can just drop all of that junk. Cool. Questions, Steels? You guys see why I rewrote that?
You can actually get, for the most part, if you just see, you could have realized that there's ones, cosines, and sines, and you could kind of automatically go to that formula, because you can get all the identities from that formula, so from one way or another. Right?
Perfect. Yeah, so you could notice that it's all sines, cosines, and ones,
Yeah.
and then think to yourself, oh, hey, anything that's all sines, cosines, and ones probably comes out of the Pythagorean identity.
Yeah,
The only other place it could come out of is the sum of angles identity.
That's true. Yeah.
But what the hell, let's just start with this one, because I only seem to have one angle, right? Like every game that I'm playing here is with t's,
Yeah.
so this is a good spot to start, yeah. And then you could try to fiddle that around.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of ways to fiddle that around, but you might happen across this one pretty fast. Cool, questions?